Hello everyone, welcome back to Sports Covery and Curious Harry. Anavaz is going to be joining us in a couple of minutes. I'm Rahul. With me is Hiren, and Hiren, we're here to discuss Indian football. But just what we hope for from Indian football. What can we hope from Indian football going forward? Because it's been a sort of disappointing spell for Indian football fans, and you said that on social media. I've seen quite a few fans sort of speaking about what is there for Indian football, what is there to look forward to. Um, so the thing is, we're on such a low that I think there is only it can only get better from now on. So, of course, as fans, it, through it the thick and thin, you support your team, and I'm sure we'll always be there. But from an Indian football perspective, what is there to look forward to? What are you saying that what, as an Indian football fan, people who are saying, "Oh, let's just stop this" and all of that, what will you tell them say, what, you have this much to look forward to? What will you say?
First of all, hello to everyone. Good evening, guys. And definitely, as you rightly mentioned, I think this is our you can say lowest point in last decade. I think if I compare to in you can say recent past performance, I think 2015 was our lowest when we didn't qualify for Asian Cup and we were 175. So I think after that, this is our in that sense. I think this is our लोएस्ट पॉइंट बट यहाँ से अपवर्ड ही जा सकते हैं बट उसके लिए भी आपको अगर हम ये मान के बैठ जाए कि कुछ बिना करे भी अपवर्ड ही जाएंगे तो दैट्स नॉट गोइंग टू वर्क तो फिर तो आप इसी यहाँ पे इसी विशियस साइकिल में यहाँ पे घूमते रहोगे फिर आगे नहीं बढ़ पाओगे बट यहाँ से कुछ अगर अच्छा करेंगे चेंजेस देन डेफिनेटली आगे बढ़ सकते हैं एंड एक चीज जो आई थिंक फैंस डिसअपॉइंट हुए है क्योंकि आफ्टर दी अगर आप पिछले 6-7 महीने की बात करें तो आफ्टर दैट 3 बैक टू टूर्नामेंट विन हीरो ट्राइनेशन इंटर कॉन्टिनेंटल उसके बाद काफी सारे नए फैंस जुड़े थे और उनको एक उम्मीद बनी थी कि नहीं भाई इंडियन फुटबॉल अभी थोड़ा सा आगे बढ़ चुका है देयर कैन बी अ पॉसिबिलिटीज कि हम अच्छा कर सकते हैं बट आफ्टर दिस परफॉर्मेंस आई थिंक लॉट्स ऑफ फैंस लिव इन डिसअपॉइंटमेंट काफी सारे फैंस जो अभी पिछले 4-5 साल से यहाँ पे फॉलो कर रहे थे इंडियन फुटबॉल को वो भी डिसअपॉइंट हो गए हैं एंड आई थिंक एक जो लास्ट होप लेके फैंस आई थिंक मेरे को लगता है कि जो बैठे हैं वो है यहाँ पे वर्ल्ड कप राउंड 3 क्वालिफिकेशन राउंड 3 आई थिंक वो भी अगर नहीं करते तो आई थिंक मोस्ट ऑफ दी फैंस विल डेफिनेटली अगर आप देखें कि जिस तरह का सपोर्ट मिलना चाहिए मतलब ये बात सही है कि थिक एंड थ्रू आपको सपोर्ट करना चाहिए टीम को बट अगर चेंजेस नहीं होते एंड कंटिन्यूअसली आई थिंक जो फैंस को मेरे को लगता है कि एटलीस्ट मैं अगर मेरी बात करूँ तो मैं सबसे ज्यादा डिसअपॉइंटेड हूँ कि परफॉर्मेंस चाहे आपकी भले ही आए ऐसा नहीं है कि कभी कभी अच्छी टीम की भी बेकार सी परफॉर्मेंस होती है कप कॉम्पिटिशन में बट द बिगेस्ट थिंग इज कि जो इनके डिसीजन मेकर जो स्टेक होल्डर है वो यहाँ पे इस चीज को एक्सेप्ट करने के लिए रेडी नहीं एंड दे फाइंड इट कि एवरीथिंग इज गोइंग फाइन सो दैट इज द बिगेस्ट डिसअपॉइंट थिंग कि जो अकाउंटेबिलिटी है कहीं ना कहीं उसका काफी ज्यादा मतलब बिल्कुल देखने को नहीं मिल रही है आई थिंक आज आप देखिए गुरप्रीत सिंह संधू ने वो पोस्ट डाला है आई थिंक दैट्स अ गुड थिंग एटलीस्ट उन्होंने सही समझा कि भाई फ्रेंड्स के प्रति भी हमारी कोई रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी है जिस तरह का सपोर्ट आप देखिए इंडिया वॉज दी थर्ड हाईएस्ट सपोर्टेड टीम इन दी एशियन कप सो बावजूद की आपकी ऐसी परफॉर्मेंस आई है तो यू नीड टू शो सम रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी अकाउंटेबिलिटी फ्रॉम द प्लेयर साइड फ्रॉम द कोचेस साइड coach side, Igor Stomach, from the AFF, everyone I think needs to show that accountability. But unfortunately, वो देखने को नहीं मिली after the FC Asian Cup, and I think that's why fans are more disappointed, more hopeless or whatever you call it. I think वो है. But आगे I think जो एक उम्मीद की अभी रिसेंट में अगर आप देखें कि नेक्स्ट 2-3 मंथ में कि जो ऐसी कौन सी चीज है कि जो इंडियन फुटबॉल को बैक ऑन ट्रैक फिर से थोड़ा सा ला सकती है आई थिंक दैट वुड बी द राउंड 3 अगर राउंड 3 भी क्वालिफाई नहीं करते देन आई थिंक मोस्ट ऑफ द फैंस will definitely आई थिंक डोंट फॉलो इंडियन फुटबॉल इन एटलीस्ट फॉर द रिसेंट फ्यूचर जब तक वो कोई अच्छा अचीवमेंट या फिर कोई अच्छा ऐसा रिजल्ट प्रोड्यूस नहीं करता
Yeah. Akash also saying, Gurpreet, about apologizing for the performance at the Asian Cup. That's it, saying one has to leave, either the management or the fans. I think as fans, you just have to stick in. Whatever happens, no matter what happens, you just have to be there. I think it's there with. It's always there. Be it your club team, your national team. There are always times when it's not going your way, and you have to just be there. But yeah, this maybe some things have to change elsewhere in Indian football, and not the fans. I think because the fans have been there, they've always been there. The fans went. We had enough fans at the Asian Cup. If you have enough people supporting the national team, and yeah, it's sad because I don't think they deserve such responses from the Indian national team. Um, PIOs, Hiren, something to look forward to if that happens.
आई थिंक अगर आपको रिसेंट में क्या बोलते हैं कि शॉर्ट टर्म में सक्सेस चाहिए, देन आई थिंक दैट इज द शॉर्टेस्ट वे एट द मोमेंट टू गो फॉर इन नेक्स्ट 2-3 इयर्स। अगर आपको एकदम से नेशनल टीम का परफॉर्मेंस, एटलीस्ट मैं थ्रू आउट पूरी इंडियन इकोसिस्टम को नहीं बोल रहा हूँ कि वहां पे आपको अच्छा हो जाएगा, बट अगर आपको शॉर्ट टर्म में वो सक्सेस चाहिए नेक्स्ट आई थिंक 2-3 इयर्स में, देन आई थिंक दैट इज द ओनली ऑप्शन एट द मोमेंट टू यू कैन से कि टेक योर टीम टू दी वन स्टेप अपर लेवल। बट उसमें भी आप अभी से काम चालू करोगे, अगर मान लीजिए कि नेक्स्ट 5-6 मंथ में या फिर नेक्स्ट 1 ईयर में आपने पीओसीएस को अलाउ किया, उसके बाद वो टीम ऐसा तो नहीं कि सारे प्लेयर भले क्वालिटी है पर एकदम से आके यहाँ पे नेशनल टीम के लिए परफॉर्मेंस देने लगेंगे। दे विल टेक अ टाइम, इट विल टेक अ टाइम। सो आई थिंक इन दैट सेंस अगर आप शॉर्ट टर्म सक्सेस चाहते हो इन नेक्स्ट 3-4 इयर्स, देन डेफिनेटली दैट्स दी वन ऑफ दी shortest
Mm.
route, but अभी तो उसकी chances भी कम लग रहे हैं, to be honest. I think because government is completely focused on election right now, so till the June July I don't see anything happening in that front. There will be some you can say कि news आएगी कि AFF ने maybe list release कर दिया, ये बात होगी, but जब तक वहां से कोई रिस्पॉन्स नहीं आता anything, I think there will be no chance. So at least उसमें भी अभी टाइम ही लगेगा. So I think नेक्स्ट जो थिंग है वो आई थिंक राउंड 3 की उम्मीद में काफी सारे इंडियन फुटबॉल फैंस अभी होप लगा के बैठे हुए हैं.
Yeah, yeah. But Rachit's right. I mean, if this situation does continue, they will take us for granted, the fans. And how do we stop that, Hiren? I mean, because that happens. That in truth.
आई थिंक रचित भाई ने बिल्कुल परफेक्टली बोला कि टेकन फ्रॉम ग्रांटेड ले रहे हैं वो. एंड आई थिंक जो जिस तरह से आप ही देखें राहुल, जिस तरह से टेक्निकल कमिटी ने कल परसों रिव्यू मीटिंग रखी थी एएफसी एशियन कप की परफॉर्मेंस की रिव्यू मीटिंग, उसमें जो आपके टेक्निकल कमेटी के चेयरपर्सन है उसका पहला सेंटेंस आता है कि उसको छोड़ दो, तुम आगे के ऊपर फोकस करो. तो फिर आपको टॉपिक ही क्यों रखा आपने एएफसी एशियन कप परफॉर्मेंस? चलो मैं तुमसे, तुमने कोई गलती की है तो मैं तुमको, या फिर तुमने कोई ऐसा काम किया है जिसकी मैं रिपोर्ट ले रहा हूँ एज ए सीनियर, तो मैं तुमसे सारी चीजें रिपोर्ट ले, कहाँ पर गलती हुई वो डिस्कस करने के बाद एट द एंड बोलूंगा ना कि चलो ये गलती हो गई, अब नेक्स्ट पे फोकस करो. तो लास्ट में सेंटेंस आता तो समझ में आता कि चलो भाई जस्टिफाइबल है. बट पहला ही स्टेटमेंट आपका ये था कि कोच आप इस बात को छोड़ो और आप फोकस करो वर्ल्ड कप क्वालिफायर्स के ऊपर. तो फिर आपने टाइटल या फिर मीटिंग बुलाने का काम ही क्या है कि आपने परफॉर्मेंस की रिव्यू मीटिंग रखी है? तो फिर आप रखते ना कि व्हाट नेक्स्ट फॉर इंडियन टीम, आपको ये रखना था. आपने टेक्निकल कमिटी मीटिंग बुलाई रिव्यू के लिए और आप पहले ही बोल रहे हो कि आप फोकस करो, पीछे की बातें छोड़ दो. So this is our system, and I think that why that मैंने पहले भी बोला ना, fans are disappointed because no one is ready to take a responsibility. चाहे वो AFF हो, चाहे कोच हो, चाहे प्लेयर्स हो, चाहे आपके क्लब्स ISL whatever you call it, everywhere there is something you need to change to get a better. But unfortunately no one is talking about that and no one is ready to take that responsibility. And I think that's why fans are जो मतलब कुछ सालों से I think fans उम्मीद लगा के बैठे, they are losing their hopes.
Yeah, yeah. Akash is also making a very valid point. The national team players also have to start appreciating fans. You got fans traveling from the parts of India to Qatar, and of course, a lot of the locals from there have also gone for these matches. To not go out and clap for the fans, regardless of whether you win or lose,
Lose,
as I
exactly.
think it's a must for you to do and appreciate like these guys who are supporting you. And if the fans weren't there, the little Indian fans weren't there, it would make so much of a difference to the players. So I think it's fair that they go and sort of appreciate the fans is important as well.
But
Yeah,
Rahul,
yeah,
if you see in Indian sport ecosystem, this is not culture in India. कोई भी स्पोर्ट पर्सन ले लो, अब देखिए क्रिकेट में हमने इतना ज्यादा अब देखा, कभी भी किसी प्लेयर ने रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी ली कि ये टूर्नामेंट हम हमारी वजह से आ रहे हैं? कभी किसी ने ली रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी? कभी? दिस इज नॉट अ इंडियन स्पोर्ट कल्चर एंड दैट नीड्स टू बी चेंज बिकॉज फैंस आर गिविंग यू अनकंडीशनल सपोर्ट इन यू डोंट. आप अगर आप फुटबॉल की, चलो क्रिकेट तो फिर भी कुछ अच्छा कर रहा है इन द सेंस कि उस लेवल पे क्वालिटी वाइज भले टूर्नामेंट अभी नहीं जीते, बट अगर आप फुटबॉल की बात करो तो आपने तो ऐसा कुछ यहाँ पे नेशनल टीम के लिए बड़ा टूर्नामेंट भी कोई ऐसा कर नहीं है लिया है कि आप इतने एरोगेंस पे रहो. यू नीड टू शो दैट यू कैन से कि रिस्पेक्ट और एटलीस्ट your duty towards the fans, to be honest. And I think perfectly you said it ki fans traveling for all around the India to Qatar. There are a lot of fans in Qatar who is supported, and still you don't say you can sing so courtesy to at least clap them up to the last match. And coach is saying that go there and show some respect. That's a very very disappointing thing. And I think see they if you see current generation of fans in football, they are a very, you can say ki, they are not like ki, they will continue to support you for like 10-15 years. They will support you maximum 1 2 3 years. If you don't achieve anything, they will directly switch the sport. They have a multiple option. So in
Yeah.
that sense, I think that needs to be also removed, because I think after the Association Cup, I at least every day I received a comment regarding this कि भाई अब तो ये देखने का मन नहीं करता, ये नहीं करता,
Hmm.
इवन अब तो कुछ वो वही नहीं करता. तो दिस इज अ डेंजरस सिचुएशन. ऑलरेडी वी आर नॉट इन यू कैन से की पोजीशन की हमारे पास क्या बोलते कि इतने ज्यादा इंडियन फुटबॉल फैन, ओवरऑल
Hmm.
फुटबॉल फैन काफी सारे हैं इंडिया में जो बाकी बाहर का फुटबॉल देखते हैं, बट इंडियन फुटबॉल फैंस उस सेंस में काफी कम है. उसमें भी अगर आप इस तरह से आपकी सारी चीजें रही तो डेफिनेटली दे विल आल्सो गोइंग टू लूज द इंटरेस्ट, एंड दैट विल बी रियली रियली सैड थिंग.
Yeah, and I think you're right because it's a very dangerous situation because you don't want to lose the little fan base that you already have. And yeah, Elliot is right. I think sport is only because the fans and players need to understand that it's absolutely true. But it's also the duty of the manager to push each and every player to go towards the fans, not only in the last game, but don't you think, Hiren, it's also the duty because I've seen this not only in Indian football, outside as well. That managers also encourage every game, a normal league game, normal
Hmm.
whatever it is, go and appreciate the fans. You saw that enough from Migos match.
आई थिंक उस सेंस में आई थिंक हमने देखा है कि जनरली साफ के दौरान भी उन्होंने किया था, तो उसमें मैं ये नहीं बोलूंगा कि उनकी ओर से ऐसा कुछ. आई थिंक ही एनकरेज प्लेयर्स टू शो सम रिस्पेक्ट टू द फैंस. दैट्स अ गुड थिंग, एंड होना भी चाहिए, बिकॉज जैसे आई थिंक बोला कि भाई आप फैंस के लिए ही स्पोर्ट खेलते हो, इट्स एंड ऑफ द डे एंटरटेनमेंट, सो यू हैव टू शो दैट रिस्पेक्ट. बट आई थिंक मैंने बोला ना कि प्लेयर के आई थिंक जो सबसे एक एक चीज जो आई थिंक उतनी ज्यादा बात नहीं होती, दैट एटमोस्फियर और ड्रेसिंग रूम का जो माहौल है, उसके बारे में उतनी ज्यादा न्यूज पे निकल के नहीं आती जितनी आनी चाहिए. बट आई थिंक द पीपल हु आर अवेयर ऑफ दैट सिचुएशन, they knows what are the dangerous situation currently, and that is the biggest you can say ki, uh, threat, or you can say ki concern for upcoming matches in World Cup qualifiers, because in team sport, as you know, there must be a synergy in the team. Otherwise, with quality player, whatever coaches, whatever tactics you will you can say ki plan for, they will not, you can say ki execute as per your plan. And my biggest worry is that the team's atmosphere is not that great, or whatever I get a inside information, and that is the why I really really feel we are uh, I mean it's going to be tough against Afghanistan in World Cup qualifiers, particularly
Mm.
the away match. Away match will be tough.
Yeah, Amal is also saying Afghanistan can't come back strong in March. It's going to be interesting because that's going to make a break. Or I know some of us who wants team match out, it would be better if we loses those games to receive the sack. But if we lose those games, what do you think it does for the fan base in India? That's another
I think
conversation.
then I think we are completely on, you can say ki ground floor. We will start to then from again, you can say कि you move, आप आगे बढ़ने की जगह फिर से 5 साल पीछे चले गए. देन यू फिर से आपको एशियन कप के लिए क्वालिफायर्स खेलने पड़ेंगे. यू नीड टू प्लान अकॉर्डिंगली एंड एवरीथिंग इज यू नीड टू स्टार्ट फ्रॉम स्क्रैच, एंड that would be a definitely a disappointing part, but uh, I think as a fan, I definitely I don't want to see that. Okay, we have to go to round three, but let's say I think I don't have a, you can say ki, as much hope, and I think if that also happen, then I don't see there will be a radical changes. Maybe they only say coach, but I don't see there will be a lot of changes all around this ecosystem. So that is the thing. With this kind of you can say ki failure also, they are not ready to accept the, you can say ki their failure, and are ready to make those changes. So
Yeah,
it's a completely, you can say ki a lot of things needs to be changed, and situation is very at the moment I would say it's a very uh, bad or worse, and there needs to be a lot of changes. जो अगर नहीं होते, then you will find that this problem again and again.
yeah, yeah. There was also an ISL game today. I just wanted to also discuss that because it's a very interesting one to in the context of what we have. And yeah, it's Jamshedpur BFC 1-1 in the end. It started with a stunning left-footed strike from Suresh, probably the best I've seen from him. I don't think he doesn't score many goals, and to score like that was quite fantastic from him. In fairness to Jamshedpur, I thought they were much better. In the end, I thought 1-all BFC got lucky. Again, Gurpreet makes a couple of very good saves in the first half, couple of good saves in the second half, keeps BFC in the game. I don't think yeah, last minute probably not a foul on Gurpreet as well. So I think BFC got away with it. But again, in fairness to BFC, I'd also say 1-0 up, Sunil Chetri penalty, 2-0, and then it's a different game. So yeah, but on the day, Jamshedpur completely better from my side at least. Hiren, unlucky for Jamshedpur not to win this game.
Jamshedpur, I think at the home they need to get those 3 points, but definitely they will be the disappointing side, and Bengaluru get the one away point, so that's a good thing for them. And I think though that sixth position race will be now becoming more and more interesting by every match passing because there is not a clear advantage. If you see Northeast United one match they won and then they lose draw, so they also are in a more of a similar situation. Bengaluru FC same case, one match they win, another they will draw, another maybe they lose. Same goes for Jamshedpur also. They win away against Mumbai City. Now at the home they drew with the Bengaluru FC. East Bengal same case. They win Derby. They won a draw Derby. Then away they lose. So I think these three four teams are looking a little bit inconsistent. So in that sense, I think the race will continue and. There's if Bengaluru FC eyeing for that sixth position, they need to find that consistency. They need to produce a back-to-back result to get you can say a little bit advantage, and then you can move ahead. So definitely, Jamshedpur will be disappointed after the this 1-1 draw at the home, and Bengaluru FC. Like you see, Jamshedpur FC in first half of the season also they are a good team, but in तब उनके पास result नहीं निकल रहे थे, but after the Super Cup conference they are getting a result, so that's a good thing.
Yep. And they look good at in moments. I think they
हाँ.
were dangerous. And Manzoro's quality, some of the balls he put into the box were, I think, perfect. They put right in that area and right in the mix. So yeah, now we're on BSC Jamshedpur. What do you make of the game? First of all, hello to you, and yeah, what do you make of the game? You're on mute, Arnava.
Well, good evening to you, and good evening everybody else who's watching. It's that that snail race that we were speaking about in the last few now weeks in regard to the top six race. First half, I would have said BFC should have won it. And the second half, I think BFC is lucky to get away with a point. So in the end, it evens out, and a 1-1, which actually gives North East advantage because they beat East Bengal yesterday. And I think especially BFC is under pressure because BFC has played the most matches in that lot. So therefore, that gives an advantage to East Bengal, even to Punjab, Chennai, and even Jamshedpur, who've got less matches. So it's still on. Nothing has changed. But the race is going to be very, very interesting.
Yeah, it looks like a lot of fun now. But to be honest, I think BFC drawing this game, I think Northeast have sort of just pushed ahead a little because they've played a game lesser and they're above both BFC and Jamshedpur. So their next game is going to be very interesting. Yeah, I think Joel, we already said it. BFC, I think in the second half they were lucky. I think moments in the first as well. One hit I think Tachikawa hit the post. I'm not sure from very close range, and yeah, and they had a couple of good opportunities, just couldn't score. And Gurpreet made a couple of really good saves as well. So that was that. But again, I think football is so weird. 1-0 up, is Sunil Chetri is given the penalty and he scores 2-0. Probably they're not coming back into the game. So yeah, it's
this league has been so crazy that even a 2-0 lead doesn't say anything. I think that's the interesting part at the moment, right? So therefore, those decisions go this way, that way. But again, it keeps the table where it is. And again, if we look at Northeast against East Bengal yesterday, what I felt, 3-2 actually flatters East Bengal, right? I mean, East Bengal has been saying a lot of things. Carlos Quadrado has said a lot of things. I thought it was very, very dangerous what Carlos Quadrado said the other day in regard to the refereeing, saying that, against us, the foul wasn't given in the derby, and Petratos was able to score the goal on the foul on Nanda. And then he said, listen, if Sahal had the same situation had been on the other side, the goal would not have been given. So this it's dangerous. Therefore, also the way the commentators are talking about these penalties, I don't know. I think a lot of people need to have a conversation to talk down. I always call these talk downs. But who's going to have these conversations of talk downs, right? To come to the main topic, right? It's like people have opinions on everything, and it's good to have opinions. People should voice their opinions, but again, people need to understand in what context are they voicing their opinions. It's the same situation here in Germany, where the football fans are unhappy with the Bundesliga, as the DFL wants to bring in an external investor to push the growth of the league, especially in regard to an own OTT platform, internationalization, all these kind of things. The fans are against it. They're throwing everything they can, tennis balls and whatever's, and matches are being delayed by half an hour, 40 minutes. And I think even the fans need to then understand it. What is my place? So therefore, it's going to be interesting to see.
Akansh is making it interesting. He says Drost's in Elsinio's pocket. And I just have something to say about Oliver Drost, whatever I've seen so far. Although he has a big frame, he's not, I don't think he's the striker who's going to win headers, or just because he's got a big frame that he's going to be really physical with your centre halves. He doesn't seem like that player. Whatever I saw of him, even at the Kantirwa the other day, was that he's more of a guy who likes to link up with players. We saw that on a couple of occasions with the Ryan Williams today. Even the other day, some of the passing that he's got, the passing range that he's got is brilliant. Barely makes a miss pass, and his passes are clean. He makes effective passes. There was a nice counter the other day, which Suresh nearly finished off. That came from a beautiful pass that Drost played into Sunil Chetri's path. So yeah, I think he's that kind of player. I don't think he's a player who's going to win a lot of duels, aerial duels, and things like that. So just the type of player that he feels like, to me at least. Yeah.
Rahul, simple thing about Drost. Oliver Drost will take time, right? He's come out of a totally different football environment. BFC at the moment is a club which is also in flux and a change. I think most probably it'll take a little bit of time. You see players who played in the ISL. Javi Severio, good example, right? It's very weird that especially Jamshedpur, when they get in these new players who have ISL experience, they always seem to do good in the club. And especially the East Bengal strikers, Chima Chukwu, the same thing happened to them, right? He came in, that's the point.
Yep, absolutely.
Just Rahul, just want to mention sorry to interrupt. Vedant, by this, that's why that caption is put it out that we are here to talk about कि अभी time नहीं है to leave Indian football. एंड ये नेगेटिविटी की बात नहीं है भाई. द सिचुएशन को आपको फेस करना पड़ेगा, एंड उसके बाद क्या रियल एक्सपेक्टेशन, क्या होप हो सकती है, उसके बारे में बात करनी है. इसमें आई थिंक आई फाइंड इट दिस इज वेरी फनी टू बी ऑनेस्ट. सम ऑफ द फैंस स्टिल आर, यू कैन से कि वांट टू लिव इन द लाला लैंड एंड डोंट वांट टू टॉक अबाउट दिस सिचुएशन. I think you have to first face it and then you can move on. We are not saying the title has a question mark. That has a meaning. The question mark has a meaning. We are not saying you have to leave. We are saying कि this topic is, that's why जो fans यहाँ पे leave करना चाहते हैं उनके लिए this is why this title has been put it out कि to, you can say कि there is something hope in the upcoming time as Indian football fans. So this is not about the negative. We are talking कि there is nothing left in Indian football, you should be leaving. We not said a single time that you should have to done that.
And also to add to that here, I think there's a lot of points being scrutinized by fans, and where there is no, sorry to say that very, very brutally, there is no understanding of things. People have been tagging me today about things, saying, oh, why was the president and the secretary at the AFC Asian Cup final?
Asian Cup final.
It's very, very normal for the leadership of football federations to go to those events. And interestingly,
exactly,
the people who've tagged the photo shows the AFF president and the AFF vice president and not the secretary. So before sending out these questions, please know what you're asking. right? And to me, it is utterly right that the president and the vice president are in Qatar or were in Doha for the final, because a lot of networking happens, a lot of conversations happen. The question should have rather been, why wasn't the president in Qatar for one of the India matches? When
Matches,
you're asking the
exactly.
question, ask the right question. The same thing someone asked me yesterday is like, why is Shah Rukh Khan at the final? Well, he's got an
Final,
invitation. That's why he's gone. So, and Shah Rukh Khan, out of personal interaction with the gentleman, I know, is a huge football fan. And Shah Rukh Khan surely would have followed in some sort of forum way what India did at the Asian Cup. But the gentleman has a very, very tight schedule in his life, right? So therefore, again, you can ask these questions, but to me there are means and ways of asking these questions. It is also is that these people also went to the FIFA World Cup when it happened in Qatar. So it is, if Shah Rukh Khan, it says, hey, do you want to go? You check with the Qataris and the AFF says, we want Shah Rukh Khan to go for one of our matches. Maybe Shah Rukh Khan would have gone for one of the matches. So this is again the job of the AFF. It's the same. We got tagged in a post by someone who says, Sikkim Premier League, what's the status of the league? This is a question of governance. If the Sikkim Premier League as a private league is not under the control of the Sikkim Football Association, that is actually in violation of football statutes. That's why I find it very interesting that the Kerala Super League is being allowed at the moment. There are a lot of questions. There are a lot of questions that these things need to be known.
Yep. Yeah. What about
So,
again?
and
Also,
it's not about looters about the loot. Again, it's about inviting the people for the right thing. I know that because we did that at Mumbai City in 2014. That was part. Ranbir Kapoor's job was to invite people to come to our matches. You say, hey, you want to come? You want to come. Because why was it, and that's why this question was asked, is it time to give up on Indian football? It never is. To me, it's not. Right? It never is. It
yeah.
never will be. There might be phases where you're thinking you should go out. That's why the whole email of Tanay Apte, for example, and saying that is very, very sad for Indian football, that someone who has dedicated a certain period of his life for Indian football, that he wants to leave. But I hope for someone like him that he maybe in 3 months or 6 months might think, you know what? I want to still do Indian football. I want to continue. I want to do the fight. Let's try and do things better. That is the most important thing. But just to raise questions for the sake of raising questions, this is what really, really annoys me now. Because
and sir, I think the context, I think, and the information we need to understand first of all, because I think आपने rightly mentioned कि this is a common thing कि in such a, you can say कि continental tournament, they obviously invite all the member association president for the final. That is the common thing. But as you mentioned rightly, the question should be why he is not in the Indian match. That's the right question. But if you are asking why is in final, that doesn't make any sense, because the obvious thing they are, you can say the member association will be invited for the final.
it's their job also to be there. Again, the question
exactly.
cannot be when AFF officials travel to meetings at FIFA, at the AFC, at SAF, all of these should be there. And the point is, Ego Steamer says Chobe busy in elections. Well, if he's busy in elections, why was he in Doha yesterday? Right? But my question is rather different. Let him be there. Right? He should have been there for one of the 3 India matches. Ideally,
exactly.
in some sort of form or way, maybe even for 3. If he can, again, Doha is not too far away from India. Maybe he could have done it. I don't know. But that is what I would have wished. Not only him, but the secretary at least. Right? There needs to be some sort of way of showing it. I mean, I felt it good when the Indian under-19 women's team came back, that Satya went to the airport.
Exactly.
So a lot of things are bad. A lot of things are looking not good at the moment. But not everything is lost. Again, that there are problems. And again, even people who are raising the questions, not everything that's being raised, to me at least, is a topic to be raised. We have fundamental problems. And even those people who are saying that, who have done work themselves in grassroots and youth football, right? With all the problems that are there, we need to work on things. And we need to work on things across the pyramid. And we have done stuff, especially at the under 17 level. I was listening today to the pre-match press conference of Ivan Vukomanovic at Kerala Blasters. And he raised the problem. He said a few things, but he hinted at a lot of things. Right? About the limited player pool. Why the Blasters have started trying to develop their own players. Because the Blasters realize that financially they don't want to compete with the top teams for those limited number of talented players. That's the thing. The youth structure, a 2-month youth league, cannot be a solution. But then I need to see the AFF coming out and saying, guys, we are doing things. It's at the moment not right, but we'll try and improve. I feel the biggest scandal to me were the statements put out by the AFF after the technical committee.
Exactly.
See, aren't you asking question about the penalties? All 3 penalties are genuine.
Genuine. वो तो सर उसका तो discussion ही नहीं बनता.
What again? This is part of the problem of football fans nowadays. Everywhere you see is conspiracy. If I like it or not, I would have loved Jordan to win because it would have been a lovely story for Asian football. But all 3 penalties, again, the Jordanians have only themselves to blame. Right? And that is the problem. Ask the right question. Igor Stimac asking a good question. Audit report. That's a question one should ask. What is this? Technical committee. What? Again, you're brushing everything under the carpet. The past is the past. But sir, I expect better from an I am Vijayan. Viju bhai, if you ever see this, Viju bhai, you are one of the best ever footballers that Indian football has seen. Technically, I have never seen a better Indian footballer in the last 25, 26 years. I expect better from you. I expect better from the others in that committee. There are other Shabida as well. All of you. I expect better from you. You have to ask the questions. Let the coach try and answer you the questions. You have played football to the highest level for India. Right? You know what it is to wear the India jersey. Huh? So,
sir, how can be the opening statement like that? If you are calling for a meeting for a review performance and you don't want to talk about that, what we can say? I mean, I have also he is one of the, or you can say ki best player, but whatever the thing. But genuinely, I think that's a very, very disappointing thing. To start with such a statement, if you are calling for a meeting of a review and then you said leave it then and focus on at the end of the discussion you made the point, then I think understandable कि चलो हो गया सो हो गया, but आगे focus करते. But you are not, you can say कि asking an accountability, then I think what is the use of such a personality to have in a technical committee just for a showcase?
And that's the point. I mean, Shaggy has a point regarding the criticism. But the point to me is that this is it has the ingredients of asking at these questions. I mean, I still don't know what Igor Stimac actually, without whatever was leaked to the press. That's also a very interesting thing. What else was in that report? And to just say that we will be better in March, we'll beat Afghanistan with and then of course focus on the June Kuwait match. Well, that, I mean, anyone with a little bit of brains would have said that, right? I mean, to me that's something very basic. To me, would be the question is, this lackluster performance, and I think Benali said it well before the Northeast match yesterday, and also highlighting, that it's also the coach's job to find potential talent and try to plug holes. That's the job. What did Northeast try to do? They realized, hey, listen, our strikers are not that good. Let's try and bring in Tommy Juric. So you're trying to find solutions to the problems, and that is something which I think is very, very important, right? There's this and knowledge. I mean, someone is saying, IFA is better than AIFF. Then your knowledge on football, sorry, it's not good enough. The IFA is as bad, if not worse, than the AIFF at the moment. So that's the other problem. Sorry, I mean, again, yes, you take it personally. Some of you put out opinions without knowing the basics of what's happening in Indian football.
Exactly.
And again,
I think
my question is, if we're at that low, what do you do then as an AFF? The stakeholders, what are you doing? Because I still think that about 5% of stuff is actually out in the open of what's happening. I think if you read the extended tweet from a Tanay, a lot of stuff to the fans would have been new, or some of the stuff would have been assumptions. Even though I will say, do I agree to everything that he says? Most probably not. But again, I can have a debate with him, and he can have a debate with me, because I think we've got enough insights to have a conversation on the topic. That is the real problem on that, is who are discussing the things, what is happening, that the main things are happening for Indian football to move forward in the right direction. We're hearing this. But if we don't do the basics right, and we go back to the basics, if we don't do the basics right, things will get worse. And that's what Vuko Manovic said very well today in the press conference, that maybe India's kept its level, the others have moved ahead.
Exactly. And sir, one thing I think वेदांत भाई जो आप भी बोल रहे हो, I think जो पेड्रो बेलानी ने सही बोली, और सही बोला कि आपको आके बैठना पड़ेगा हमारे साथ, and let's make a you can say कि reserve team play matches, and then you can discuss about it. From outside you only making the comment, and उसने एक चीज जो बेटर बोली, आई थिंक कि भाई हमने तो आपकी कोचिंग के ऊपर क्वेश्चन नहीं किया, you are continuously attacking our coaching or our, you can say, flows. That's the, I think, put it a very, you can say, perfect manner. What are the responsibility of the national team coach, and what is he doing in 5 years? We have 5 years. If you see 2019 squad and this squad, most of the player you are continuing with them. So where did you develop a player? In a sense कि जिस तरह की इंडिया की कंडीशन है, आई नो कि प्लेयर आपके क्या बोलते हैं लीग सिस्टम से आने चाहिए, बट जो सिचुएशन है उस हिसाब से, तो एग्जैक्टली राइट क्वेश्चन पूछना काफी वो इम्पोर्टेंट चीज है जो आपने बोली. बट एक चीज सर मैं आपसे जानना चाहता था रिगार्डिंग व्हाट विल बी द नेक्स्ट फॉर इंडियन फुटबॉल इन टर्म्स ऑफ द, इफ इंडिया वांट्स टू सक्सीड इन नेक्स्ट 3, 4, 5 years to get a better performance, may supposed to be in AFC Asian Cup, next Asian Cup, or maybe in World Cup qualifiers or other matches. So what will be India's 2, 3 things there which India can do in next couple of years, then it can be achievable?
I think the first
OCI
thing
is one of the way.
OCI, see, if OCI is implemented, I think, yes, that would be the easiest way of developing not only the men's but also the women's team. I think there would be quite a drastic raise of standard. And, in the past we've discussed, should there be 2 or 3 or 4 players? For me, is that if need be, chuck in 20 OCIs, get a better team. Reality, right? The question is, if people are talking about players, names, and if they're going to be better and this is something which Bob Houghton used to tell me. He used to say in those days, it's like, someone who does well in a league, I as a national coach have to think, can he physically, mentally compete at a higher continental level, right? So that is a point, that is, can our players especially the smaller, shorter, lightweight players. And we've got tons of these wingers. We can exchange XYZ. It doesn't matter. We've got 15, 20 players who come into those positions. Can they compete at a higher level? And I think the best example of that is a Chante who's, muscled up over the last 2-3 years to ensure that where he is. Right? If I remember, 2018-19 already was playing for India. Chante was one of the youngest goal scorer ever for India. When he scored in SAF in 2015. But the others need to get stronger, right? And you will have those players. Again, yes. And that's a reality. Vedant, in regard to training in Spain, it doesn't mean that the leagues are better. But the players you're playing with, your squad, everybody is per se better than maybe 2 or 3 other foreigners in your team. Your training in Spain is much more technical than it will be in India. That's a simple fact, right? Because even I say my example here in Germany in the 6th division, FC Remscheid, my hometown club, that they are most probably better than most Indian players because these kids have played under 19 Bundesliga. So their football education is much better. And this is something which will not be sorted. Then you see, be it a Jay or be it an Ishan, that when they come to India, they then become Indian players again, because then we raise the question of consistency. Because Jay Gupta, one of the standout players of the season, but Abdul Rabi took him to the cleaners. Then Abdul Rabi is not a player who's going to play for India anytime soon, which means that a decent level ISL player on a bad day will take him apart. And that's the example of Akash Mishra at the Asian Cup.
सर आई वांट टू नो रिगार्डिंग दिस थिंग, आपने जैसे पीओआई की बात की, बट अगर हम रिसेंट पास में जो चेंज देख रहे हैं कि गल्फ में देयर आर अ कपल ऑफ lots of young Indian players who are in UAE and Saudi and all of them, their clubs are playing who has a basically Indian citizenship. So do you expect कि वहां से भी हमारे लिए टैलेंट आ सकता है in upcoming years? जैसे आई थिंक सहल अब्दुल का केस है कि सहल अब्दुल समद लर्न हिज फुटबॉल, बट उससे बेटर वे में काफी प्लेयर वहां पे काफी सारे क्लब्स के साथ जुड़े हुए हैं एंड दे डूइंग देयर फुटबॉल और प्लेइंग देयर फुटबॉल इन गल्फ कंट्रीज.
To me is Sahal Abdul Samad is a very good example, right? That he has certain skill in him. But Sahal, in his time in the UAE, played in soccer schools. At the time, playing in the leagues over there was difficult. And I know that certain coaches who have, especially at the Blasters, went berserk because they said with this talent that Sahal is, there needs to be more coming out of him. And it seems to have now happened because Sahal has gone to Mohun Bagan. He needed a different environment. And sometimes you need to, as a player, you need to get out of that comfort zone. And that is, I think, that is important. If these guys are going to give competition, great, yeah, there will surely be players coming in the future. But the hope is going to be that they will be better than what is available in India at the moment. If our players are the Ishan Panditas and the Jay Guptas who are playing 5th, 6th tier of Spanish football, and others are talking about our players need to go to top tier leagues in Europe somewhere or the other, find the problem.
Yep. What about the next crop coming through the youth system youth system in India, no? Because Hiren spoke about some of these youth players outside. What is the situation like for the youth players in India right now?
I think the biggest problem for youth football in India is that the structure which was being created, was killed by COVID. And I use this hard word, killed, because it was a slowly growing setup. I mean, I remember when we were setting up Round Glass Punjab and we went to the workshops and asked the AFF to come over. you do an assessment on us. What do we have? What we don't have? What we don't need? The systems were being put in place, right? It wasn't perfect, but the systems were being put in place. That has been killed. That proper licensing to some extent is gone, which I don't understand. Licensing, if you like it or not, has been one of the success stories of Indian club football in a way, right? And if it was implemented properly with some sort of a salary cap at the right time and the right way, I think that would reduce the cost substantially for Indian clubs, because we are overspending on our players, right? This is something which, if you want to play a franchise-based system, that you need to learn from the Americans. The MLS does it perfectly, in my opinion. Not only that.
Okay.
So therefore, for me, are we going to recreate that? Because at the moment, the under-17 last season, this season was being played as a tournament. The under-15s are being started, is being played as a tournament. And how are we tracking and how are we taking care of these sort of blue Cubs leagues? I mean, they've rebranded it from baby leagues again. And this is something which I always realize in an Indian context, right? When you change that, you want to just showcase, listen, I give it a different name, I give it a different stamp, right? And you don't want to say, the people in the past also did a few things right. Right. So therefore, that was, especially 2019, a lot of things happened, with the proper baby league structure. Above 300 baby leagues were there.
Yeah, I know. Can you also sort of elaborate on what the youth structure was just before COVID? I know you said it sort of got killed during the process, but can you tell us a little bit more about what it was like and what was the system and things like that?
And again, you have the baby leagues, which were depending on place, state, whatever. At certain started under 6, under 8, under 10, under 12. And on the other side, you then had the under 13, under 15, under 18 leagues. So at local level, you were ideally playing in a 16 competition or 18 competition, 10 to 14 matches a season to start off, and the better teams then progress to a potentially interzonal or to a national level, and therefore that is something which I think which was there again, and it was not ideal, because I said under 15 and then under 18 makes no sense. Make an under 17, make an under 19 league. But then the other clubs all said, which is also understandable, listen, to start another team is a cost to us. And for some of the bigger setups, it would have meant 25, 30 lakhs additional cost to run a system where clubs are losing money. So this is something which cannot be, the ideal system for us will cost us money, which we do not have. That's the other things. We are in a situation of we are beggars, we can't be choosers, right? So that is the other important thing. And Oniman on a Twitter campaign will not bring anything. The conversations are happening behind the scenes. I am part of those conversations, or I'm trying to influence those conversations. As much as you will think that on YouTube and on Twitter we can influence. I love talking to my friends and talking with you guys, but the decisions are made behind the scenes. And honestly, very few people, they will never tell you that. I'll tell you that. A lot of these people don't care what people are saying. A lot of people are saying what you people want to hear. They're not saying what they're saying in private. That's the other problem. Being honest, truthful in what is needed and what needs to be done. That's, in my opinion, the biggest problem in Indian football. And Amal raises the Reliance Academy no, it's not Reliance Academy. It's the Mizoram Football Association, but with the help of the Reliance Foundation,
Earlier, Tata used to do this thing,
No, that's a different one. That was a specific academy. This is about the grassroots
academy. Academy set up.
So those are two different things. But the point here at the end of the day is that here you have a situation, and it's interesting. There are certain people who always criticize Reliance for what they do, FSL and ISL and all that stuff. But they have actually themselves created the best youth setup structure at the Reliance Foundation. They've spent money. They've created the infrastructure. They have brought in the coaches. They're educating the coaches. They're bringing up the players. And that is something. And again, does FSDL bull? No, they don't. Again, that's a big assumption. They've given them guidelines, but it's for the AFF to talk to them and say, guys, this is not working, that's not working, let's work around it. You have a framework, discussions on the Indigo deal is bizarre because people have not asked what is the deal about? What was the deal for? That is the big problem. If you fall for this, that people are throwing around chunks and saying, this is bad, this is bad, this is bad. Listen, a lot of bad things have happened. And I say this, the old people who are running the AFF, actually with all the problems that were there, were doing a good job. They're actually doing a good job with all the problems. Because now people should understand that it is not easy to run the All India Football Federation. With the given realities at the AFF level, to run it with the state associations, to run it with FSDL, to run it with the clubs, to run it also with the fans, because fans have unrealistic expectations.
Yeah. On that note, Hiren, what are your expectations from Indian football? Moving
आई
forward.
थिंक मैंने आज आज जब चिल स्ट्रीम की वहां पे फैंस को बता दिया था कि दिस इज अ फेज कि जहाँ पे काफी सारे फैंस को पता चला कि व्हाट शुड बी द अपकमिंग एक्सपेक्टेशन फ्रॉम द नेशनल टीम सो आई थिंक यू जस्ट हैव टू आई थिंक काफी बार सर ने भी बोला कि यू जस्ट हैव टू एंजॉय द गेम एंड सिंपल एज दैट आप फुटबॉल को एंजॉय कीजिए एंड वही सोचिए रादर देन थिंकिंग अबाउट ऑल ऑफ दिस मेस आई थिंक देखिए सोशल मीडिया पे आप क्वेश्चन रेज करते रहिए उसमें कोई गलत बात नहीं है एंड अगर आपको कोई चीजें पता नहीं है तो डेफिनेटली अगर आप रेज करोगे कहीं पे गलत होगे तो मे भी कोई आपको सही कर सकता है या फिर हम जैसे यहाँ पे डिस्कशन करते हैं तो वहां पे भी आपको काफी सारी चीजें जैसे आपको पता नहीं है और सर को और हम सब में से किसी को अगर इन्फॉर्मेशन है तो वो सारी चीजें आपकी बेटर हो सकती है अंडरस्टैंडिंग के हिसाब से बट यू जस्ट हैव टू एंजॉय नाउ यू डोंट थिंक टू मच अगर वही सोचते रह जाओगे तो it's a long race and you will eventually in 1 or 2 years you will be disappointed and you leave the sport. So I think rather than thinking about that, just enjoy the game if you like it and just support the team. That's what I said rather than making a too much expectation.
I think what I used to always tell Akshata when we started sort of working together is unconditional support. I think that that's very, very important. That whenever India plays, they need the support. They're trying to do their best, yes. But the reality is we are at the moment not there where we should be. And that to me is a reality of things that we want them to be somewhere where we aren't. And I said that last summer. Again, most of people didn't want to listen to it. Even people told me I'm being negative. I said, no, I live in the reality. You don't. And the reality came crashing down in January. That's why, I mean, in private conversations, most people who work in Indian football, who have a basic understanding of Indian football, most people said India in that group will not win a game. India will not even score a goal. That's an interesting fact, which I'm telling you today. Most people who work in Indian football and understand Indian football in the background will tell you, with this team, with all of the things happening also in and around the team, that's the thing, and that's a reality, because under this situation, under this setup, that is the best we can do. I think with another coach, with the more realistic approach, even with the Steven, we would have at least scored a goal and we would have tried to give them a fight. But the point is, a lot of players were mentioned. It doesn't make a difference if XYZ is playing, because we don't have that player who's so exceptional, who wasn't there, who could have made a difference. A player, again, even I have some players who I think I would have liked to have seen. I would have liked to have seen a Putea in that squad. I liked a Vikram to be in, but you saw how over-motivated Vikram was when he came on in the Asian Cup. And Again, there is no best replacement. This is a process. You have to filter out the best. You don't know who's going to apply for the job whenever that job becomes available. That's why I also said I don't want an ISL coach to be national team coach. Because you saw already that when Manolo and others are talking about it, I want this, I want that, and that's not going to happen. You are not going to get extended camps. If someone thinks national team coaches will get extended camps with a growing Indian club system, you're living in la la land. And people are literally putting out wrong facts. People are saying that teams have had 27 days to train. Right? 27 TK. But most of the teams are players who play around the world. When did they turn up? My Yunmin Son example from the last Asian Cup, he turned up one day before the tournament. What did Andre Onana do? Turned up one day before the tournament. Now, actually, played one day before he played a 90-minute match and turned up. Right? So but the point is that, and this is what Benali said, the national coach needs to work together with us, because then the players are prepared at the club for the national team. If there are extra assignments, they can filter it into their training. That should not be a problem. That is done around the world. The days are gone where you will have 4, 6, 8-week camps. And the other problem is our players are playing at the moment too much of football. Some of the players have not had a proper break in now 18, 19, 20 months. Some of the players you can see they're physically, more than physically, they're mentally tired. Sandesh Jhingan picked up an injury because he was forced. Sandesh Jhingan got injured because he was defending. Because we're fighting against teams who are of a higher level. To see a structure, I would hope, as I hope in the next 2, 3, 4 years. Because I think it's not something which will happen overnight.
Yeah.
And about talking about Afghanistan, it's the job of Ashley Westwood now as the coach of Afghanistan to try to bring all the players back, right? And our track record against Afghanistan is not something that 6 points are guaranteed. Even though getting those 6 points will be hard. Last time around, Igor Stimac got a draw away. Len Dungal, 87th minute equalizer against Bangladesh at home. We needed an Adil Khan header to equalize in Kolkata. I remember a lot of hype after the Kuwait draw away. Kuwait draw in Doha. What a night. I mean, remember, I was there in Doha. What a night over there. Indian football has arrived. I remember Igor said, we've arrived. Now we will move up. And then the reality struck, right? India has to control a game. India has to play football. And against Bangladesh plays counter and Bangladesh scores. Simple thing. We whoever is our national team coach, it doesn't matter to me who it is. That person, whoever becomes a national coach, if Igor Stimac one day goes, needs to be realistic. What can I get out of these kind of players? If you are thinking that these players, again, and what I'm seeing, we're getting a lot of players who are small, nippy, talented, this and that, everything. We might get away at the SAF level, but at the Asian level, these players will be tough. I mean, even the Japanese and the Koreans who used to be as small as our players, they're all at least 3-4 inches taller than our players now. I mean, India was amongst the shortest and the lightest teams in the competition. I think we're the second shortest and third lightest team in the competition. And then take out Gurpreet, then take out Sandesh, maybe take out Manveer. Then it would have been interesting to see. These are all realities. And again, and this is a very, very tough period. And even I say that Satya in his position. I wish him all the best because it's not easy. It is not easy. He's done good work in Karnataka. But now even, with him, people are trying to throw mud at him, and say, oh, he's bad, this and that. Because that's the situation at the moment. Everyone is fighting for themselves in the AFF. This is the first thing that house needs to be set in order. But I know that will not happen easily. It's not as if, the AGM happens and all the state associations come forward and say, you know what? We dissolve the EXCO. We do a fresh election. We bring in new people to run this. Let's sort this out for once and for all. That would be a dream. Is that going to happen in March in Itanagar? But that's the point. It goes too much. Indonesia and Thailand, just look at the players, especially the foreign-born ones. They're not short. Indonesia is not a short team. Hong Kong is not a short. Just look at the stats. This is one thing where you can believe the stats. And the point is about friendlies. No one is coming to us to want to play, teams want to play us, and they say they want money from us, and we don't have it. This again, that's the brutal reality of where Indian football stands at the moment. I like it, you like it, or you don't like it. And again, 30 matches allocating to those teams makes no sense. You need to try and work on the youth leagues, make it mass-based, and then filter out the best. You want the best 30? But you want to train 30 players for all times? You see the results now. The under-17 World Cup squad. 3-4 players are in and around the national team from a squad they had 35 players at some stage. So we need to find a right solution.
Yeah.
Right. And that is something which we need to work on with the perfect structure and the perfect structure, But again, yes, Thailand is shortest team, but beat. Why? Because Thailand, they're technically good. Our problem is we're bad in everything at the moment. The replacements you want to bring in as wingers, again, Jay Gupta will add physicality, yes. But the others, will they add physicality? A Putia, who I love as a player, the attitude. But does Putia add height to the thing? No, it doesn't. And the thing is, our players are more conscious about their food. The physical training is much better. But when you are forced to play against teams who play at a much, much faster pace, and you're not used to it, that's the problem. That is the real problem. Because that is where we got exposed in all 3 games at some stage, right? That even Assyria can, take us apart, so to say. We had no solution.
Yeah. Yeah, but I think Igor.
I said that they're smaller, but the point is they're technically better than us.
Yeah.
I've been saying this. Rahul and I have been speaking about this now for nearly a year. Every game that I've been watching, every team seems to be technically better than us. How can that be? And ISL is slow. No, the ISL is not slow. The ISL also has become faster than it used to be. But just see the difference of the Super Cup with up to 6 foreigners and look at the ISL now. Just look at the final. Good example. 12 foreigners on the field. The technicality and the speed of that game was higher than every ISL game.
Yep.
And the Thai League is of a higher level than the ISL. Listen, they beat teams from the J League and the Champions League. See, again, you're assuming something without you not knowing. So that's my thing. know the things before even making such a comment. My humble request. Because everyone is throwing around these things, na? Yeah. And Nepal, look at who's gone to France. Has any of our players gone to France? How is it that Nepal and Bangladesh in the women's game are producing better strikers than us? That's also a reality, right? So we have structural issues which we need to sort. Yes, exactly, Roshan. That's the point. That is our difficulty. That is the challenge for us, that our players need to step up. Because the foreigners today in the ISL are much, much better than they used to be in the NFL or the I League. That is a fact, you know. Tommy Juric, an aging but an established Australian international footballer coming to the ISL. You know, we were, no disrespect to my friend Tolga Uzbe, but you know, Tolga used to play at East Bengal over a decade back, who was a player between the second tier and the A League in Australia. Now we're getting established Aussie internationals, you know. Jason Cummings. The ISL, yes, is growing, but maybe the growth is too slow. And now the question should be, how can it grow faster? Everyone is growing. Again, no one is, even Indian football is not standing still, but everybody around us is moving faster, you know. It's like we are driving a rickshaw, other people have autos or tuk-tuks, and someone are driving a Lamborghini or a Maserati. Qatar as a clean example, right? And you also realize with this whole ranking thing, in 2018, India was higher ranked than Qatar and Jordan. Were India better in 2018 than Qatar and Jordan? Yeah, but if our players are playing second fiddle, you know, then they have to fight it out and be better. I go back to the example of Sunil Chhetri when he was at Mohun Bagan. He had Jose Reyes Barreto and Baichung Bhutia in front of him. Even a very talented Lalam Puya in front of him. When he realized it's not going to happen, he was thinking, you know, what to do. Renedy and him went to JCT and he resurrected his career. And then slowly became Sunil Chhetri. And a very important step that Sunil did was when BFC was founded, he gambled and he went to BFC. And the rest, as I say, is history. And it doesn't matter, you know, what, we need solutions to the problems. And I think this is what annoyed me, right? Because that's why I tweeted a while back today that I said the problem in Indian football isn't the realization that India had a disastrous Asian Cup, but rather the key decision makers aren't willing to act on the matter in the interest of our football's future. Trying to buy time and sit it out isn't a strategy. And this is done around the world by clubs, by national federations, in the hope that they'll manage it. We are at a juncture where you need to take action.
I think, Rahul, that's the perfect way to sum it up.
Yeah, absolutely. Yep, fair enough. I mean, again, like I've always said it, we hope for the best, and there is a lot of work to be done.
And we hope for the best, but we should address the problems.
Absolutely,
that's I think very important. We address the problems, the challenges, and try to work towards a better for a better future. And we need to put the finger in the wound. Otherwise, this conversation we're having now, we can have this conversation in 5 years, 10 years. I am having these conversations for the last 26 years. It's always been up and down, up and down, up and down. And we've had worse moments than this. But at some stage, someone stood up and took decisions.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely, and yeah, let's work, I think, towards creating a better Indian football ecosystem. On that note, guys, please do like and share these videos. Subscribe to all the channels: Arun Foot, Curious Harry, and Sports Khabri. And yeah, we'll be back tomorrow. Good night.
Good night, guys.
Good night, everybody.